Welcome back, everybody. So today, of course, final day here at Norway Chess, round number 9, and I'm playing with the white piece against Fabiano. Now, obviously, today there are only a couple of games that really are important, I guess you could say, towards the standings. Basically, Wesley's game against Gukesh and my game against Fabiano. Pretty much everything else is irrelevant. My game, of course, I'm going to wax poetic a little bit, I guess you could say, or be a little bit of a philosopher here. So what I'm playing today is something that I've not played in a very, very long time, over 14 plus years since I played this Bishop D3 line against Joshua Friedel in the final round of the 2009 U.S. Championship. That, of course, a very sort of, I guess, memorable and important moment in my chess career for a couple of reasons. First of all, it was the first year that the U.S. Championship was held in St. Louis. It was the first major event that Rex Singfield was sponsoring at the time. And in the final round, there were two players tied for first. There was myself alongside Bobby Hess, Grandmaster Robert Hess, of course, the famous guy. You can't spell chess without Hess, who maybe is doing commentary today. That would be kind of funny. But we're both tied for first place going to the last round. And in the final round, I had the white pieces against Josh Friedel, and Robert, I believe, had the white pieces, or maybe it was a black piece. I think it was against Yuri Shulman, if I remember correctly. At any rate, Robert would draw his game. I won a very nice game in relatively short fashion to become the U.S. champion. So it's very memorable because of the fact that it was first tournament in St. Louis. Also, it's very memorable for me personally because when I look back on that tournament, many players who are playing here have played in St. Louis. They would be able to relate to this. But this was before there had been this establishment, I guess you could say. There weren't really the hotels, these accommodations. And so I was actually staying downtown in St. Louis. And I remember a longtime trainer who's here with me right now, Chris Littlejohn. He basically brought his desktop from or the tower from Dallas, Texas. He drove in a rental car all the way to St. Louis. We were staying at the Hilton in the downtown area, and I remember going to the last round. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, and at that point, I basically before going to the final round, I went to bed relatively early, I would say, and I told Chris just find something in E4, E5. And this is actually what he came up with. He came up with the idea based off of one game that was played by Morozevich before, but certainly after I played that game, this whole variation became very prominent and it's considered a main line. So I'm really excited to be able to play it after so many years. I would also blend it together with another thing that I wanted to say yesterday, which is on the rest day, we went to this island, Fjordfjord, or however you pronounce it. I'm not going to pretend to be Ariantari with his pronunciation, but there was a picture that I took with Shakra there, and it's one of these things where at the end of the day, when you play all these different tournaments, you compete against these guys over and over and over, years and years go by. But it's all sort of like it all sort of blends together. And I was thinking like whether it's U.S. Championship, whether it's Shakra, it's many years. Like we all are sort of have the same lifestyle. We all end up spending time together, and so it becomes very nostalgic at a certain point as well.
Look at Fabiano. He's devastated, staring away, shaking his head. Now the white d-pawn comes. One of these moves is going to tip black over the edge. We'll see a handshake any second now. The winner of Norway Chess will be Hikaru Nakamura, and there we go. It's confirmed.
Wow. Wow, what a game by Hikaru Nakamura, from an inspired opening choice to provoking Fabiano Caruana's terrible one-move blunder. Well, Hikaru is Norway Chess winner. Wow, how are you feeling after such an epic final round game?
From the start, so it wasn't super nerve-wracking except for a couple of moments in the game, but overall, I mean, it was just very I don't want to say easy, but it was definitely in my control the whole way, and it was just quite nice that Fabiano made a blunder, and I found some good moves and it worked out.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned in your confessional the reason why you chose the fried liver attack, about how it was kind of almost like a tribute to your second, Chris Littlejohn, and how he'd helped you prepare this in 2009.
Yeah.
Was it just to get those good memories going, or did you kind of detect something in Fabiano's kind of play?
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is that when I play this opening in a must-win situation, there are a lot of variations which didn't occur in the game today, which can be extremely sharp, where it's almost like you just have to play on your own and just hope that you can remember like 30 moves. I don't need to say what the variations are. David obviously knows. But basically, because it was must-win, I didn't mind going for that. And then Fabiano played this knight f4, which did not completely surprise me. But as I said in my notes before the game, the one thing that I remembered very clearly was that in all the variations with c5, well, not all of them, but the variations with c5, that you're supposed to go bishop a3 and then knight e4, specifically because knight e4, bishop f8, bishop a3 allows f5. And so I remembered that, and then of course I was still in my preparation, and Fabiano played this. Play this f5 move, which definitely surprised me. It was not what I was expecting. But I think the main point, and we didn't talk much after the game, but I think the main point is that if the rook's on a1, like if you just randomly, I don't know, put the rook on a1 and play h3, for example, in this position instead of rook c1, yeah, like say h3, f5, knight takes c5. I think there's something with like queen a5. I think maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think there's something like queen a5 here, and it's different. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is bad too. But I just remember there's something with this whereas in the game, if we get to this position after rook c1, f5, knight c5, queen a5, that I think knight g5 is just probably winning there. And I think this is what Fabiano missed. I think he missed that knight g5 is just extremely strong. And yeah, well, we can see from the bar that it's just game over. And after that, it was just a big struggle. And I don't think Fabiano really had great chances anywhere. I mean, he was trying to put up a good defense, but it was just very unpleasant the whole way. So it's what it is. And then yeah, as far as the preparation goes, I mean, besides just picking it, I mean, there's someone else I work with also. There's a German grandmaster, and he had mentioned something along these lines to me about this bishop d3 move a couple months ago. And it was funny because he wasn't even aware that I had played this in 2009. I mean, I'm getting to the point now where there are games that I've played that people just forget that I played things. It's like, I remember there was an Olympiad where Wesley and I were teammates. I forget which one it was, maybe 2016, 2018. And I played the Queen's Gambit Accepted against Van Whaley. And after the game, we were having our team meeting. Wesley's like, oh, you played the Queen's Gambit Accepted. Because Wesley had not seen that I had played about 6 or 7 years earlier, and it's getting to the point where there are all these different things that I played in another lifetime ago, and sometimes it's fun to bring them back, and I think people just forget that sometimes I played. And I think Fabiano probably also was completely unaware because in 2009 he was playing for Italy, so I think he probably just wasn't aware of that game altogether, and it's just fun to sometimes pull these old games out, especially or these old variations out because. That game specifically was very monumental. I think it was helpful in terms of my career, winning a second U.S. championship, but also I think winning that U.S. championship has certainly, I think, led to a lot of the great things that happened in St. Louis down the road as well for the chess community. And I think it's just great that I could win with this Bishop D3 idea again.
Nice touch. And also have some questions from chat asking, will you play in the World Cup?
No, I'm not playing there. I have other summer plans already, so I'm not going to be playing the World Cup.
Oh, are you going to enlighten us as to these chess plans?
I mean, well, first of all, I have to go stream, and then I'll figure it all out. But I have stuff coming up.
Oh, okay. And do you have any educational things on the horizon? Like Fabiano mentioned, he had a chessable course.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, at some point I'm supposed to do a Chessable course, but Chess.com hasn't like reached out to me about that yet, so I don't even know what the deal is with that. I think for me as a streamer, the biggest thing is I just make sure that I show up and I do what I'm supposed to do. I show up and I stream, and that's really all that I worry about. Even with this tournament before I came here, I didn't know what the time control was. I knew what the general schedule was with the rounds and everything, but I didn't know the time control. I didn't know the Armageddon format, any of this stuff. It's just I just made sure to show up. That's really where my head is at these days.
And you did know the rule that you didn't need to notate.
No, I didn't know that either. Yeah, because my game against Gukesh was pretty messy. I think both of us were notating when apparently we didn't have to. I mean, I could have sworn, though, when FIDE added the increment many years ago, I thought it was just automatic. You have to record no matter what. And so it was a little bit confusing, but I guess you live and you learn. The rules change over time.
I want to ask one more thing. You're the person who is changing the chess community quite a bit with your stream. How do you visualize, let's say, the chess community and the world in 5 years?
Well, I mean, it's very hard to tell where things are going. I think right now we have a lot of tournaments. All the top players are very competitive. They're playing almost year round. So I think from a financial standpoint, that's very good. Will there continue to be more tournaments? It's hard to tell. I think actually at the moment, and personally, I think there are probably a few too many actually. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think chess is only going to continue to remain popular. I think between myself, Magnus, and others, I think people really enjoy watching chess, and I don't think that's going to change. I'm really excited to see what happens with the juniors. I think Gukesh, for example, I think finishes third, if I'm not mistaken. A very, very impressive event here, and I think maybe we'll see someone finally dethrone Vichy after God knows how many years as India's #1. But I think the future is very bright with all these juniors who are up and coming.
And what about the time control? Do you think it's going to lead to shorter time control more popular, or we stick to classical?
I thought this time control was very good. I think around where we're at, 2 hours roughly for the whole game, or maybe a little bit less makes sense. I don't think, the notion of, say, the old controls 40 and 2, 20 and 1, and then sudden death 30 or something along those lines, even with increment, I think that's probably too much time at this point. So I think we're going to see around what we're at, or maybe a little bit lower. But I don't think we're going to see longer time controls. I just think for the fans, it's not great. And certainly at the end of the day, even for me as someone who's spent my life playing chess, I don't actually watch games for 7 hours. I can't do it. I can spend maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour doing it. And so to think that the casual fan, which really is the target audience, will spend 7 hours is just not realistic. And so I think games that go about maybe 2 to 4 hours, around what these games were, is probably the sweet spot.
Okay, and I have to say congratulations once again for becoming Norway Chess Champion 2023, and also for entertaining us all with not only your confessions but your magnificent chess as well. And amazing performance, and well done. And thank you very much for joining us in the studio and sharing with us your thoughts.
Thank you so much. It was great being here.